Good day, everyone, and welcome to Obedient Family TV. The program now Hope Alive. Yes, Hope Day. Any place where we say all our obedience worldwide day with the greet on a good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on our time zone. We don't come back today, make we carry something so we say they happen for Nigeria, present on America, they see as plenty things don't they happen. For Nasarawa State, women, they don't take them by, they call them bull by the horn. I've been a horn by the bull, they don't take them already. As they don't talk, say their mandates cannot be stolen by APC and the judiciary. They are protesting naked. No be say, they know they come up, make them come, they begin, they please everyone. Army people come, then they fight army, they define police, everybody, and they know if you do them anything because now peaceful protest. But now, then they, as they go naked, now to show say they really no appreciate what they happen for Nigeria. We dey carry that one come. We get other ones wey be say like Tahiru Jega wey be the former INEC boss. He don comot talk say Tinubu dey take Nigerians for granted and then they send wrong signal to Nigerians. We get that one they come as in do interview. We also get different other things where they happen for Nigeria, like Fubara, they don't affirm them. Before, we think say we can go act. But it be like say powers that be, talk say make it come out in hand, make something no bite and for waiting they happen for River State. And plenty other things will be say we get. And not be only me go discuss this very something. I get Angel for studio, I get Esther for studio, and our own UC Maxwell go join us for Zoom to analyze other conflicting judgments where they come out from the Court of Appeal, where they cause all this kata for everywhere. Now all those ones now we there.
Good day, my well-meaning Nigerians, my lovely and intelligent, obedient worldwide. Welcome. Tell your neighbor, say hope day, but not in our politicians or in our leaders, but in God. Majority of our politicians are reckless and desperate. They have the mind of it's either I win or I pull down the roof, which is very bad. Welcome on board. Let's discuss.
Yes, so greetings to my well-meaning, obedient and wonderful Nigerians. My people, since things have really fallen apart, since the swearing in of this present government, the economic index of Nigeria has really gotten worse in all aspects. Anyway, we have lots and lots of more to discuss. Welcome and join us.
Yes, so as you dey join us anywhere where you dey join us, make you for like and share, make other obedience get updates, say Hope Day and Hope Alive from Obidati Family TV don't come. So please hit that button as we start to go. You know, I want to start with the practice that has gained too much notoriety in the judiciary in Nigeria. It is the practice that more often than not judges, after the delivery of their judgment, request parties and litigants and counsel to give them time to effect corrections to the judgment they delivered in open court. This practice happens in normal cases and in election petition cases too. But this same case has generated, this one now that happened in Kanu, has generated huge debates, both with Sand and all the other people. And the election petition time, we know, is of essence. Appeals in this kind of proceedings are time bound. From tribunal to the Court of Appeal, litigants have only 21 days to appeal from Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. Litigants have 14 days to appeal. No ground of appeal can be effectively and efficiently nominated without reading through the judgment. But lawyers spend hours and days in the registry for copies of these judgments without getting them on time. Sometimes it takes up to 5 or more days in the name of the fact that the judgments are being proofread and corrected. Now, we know that so much of this thing has cost so much, but it's the Supreme Court that is going to answer to that question of what happened in Kanu. Then coming back to Nasarawa State, Angel, women naked, protesting, defied the soldiers, because we can see it glaring in full daylight, naked. And there's a significance. It's just not that they want to show off their nakedness, but it seems that there is a reason why that I mean, they want to, you know, show that their mandates must not be taken by the judiciary.
Mr. Kanu, the issue is that anytime or in any occasion women go naked, that thing has gotten out of hand. That is the issue, because every woman or women, they value their nakedness, but anytime they go out of their way to go down naked, you know that the situation has gone out of hand, that they are very serious, that thing they are talking about, they meant it. Whether the government will listen or not, they have to listen. Because for your mother, for your sister, for your wife to go naked without even minding cameras, it shows that what they want is what they want. And judiciary cannot take it away. Judiciary cannot even determine who governs us. Why are we having an election? If we decide, oh, Mr. A, now he will want, make him lead us, then judiciary go come turn around, say no, now Mr. B, now he go lead us. You know good now. Because now waiting judiciary.
By fire, by force.
Well, anyway, the era of women not coming out to vote has gone. If you actually check at the polling unit on the days of election, notice that the number of women are actually more, because they are not just thinking about themselves, they're thinking about their children, their generation, their relatives. That is women for you. So now women come out in there, just like the way you saw them protesting at Nasarawa, that is also the way they come out massively to vote. But now the issue is that their anger is that after the whole stress, the whole tussle and everything, they are meant to, their mandate is supposed to be a reward for their hard work, but yet it was denied of them. Exactly. So that is their anger. That's the reason for their protest.
Okay, let's look at what some people are commenting on X. We have some Alpha the Great tweets, and we have all other obedience tweets who are I'm talking about reactions to what is happening in Nasarawa. The one from Alpha the Great said, they can't kill us all. Nasarawa women and youths are crying for justice. And then we have several other tweets from X that are really very, very talking about these same things. So if you can indulge us, producer, so that we can get to some of the tweets that has to deal with this very thing. Now, if you don't have it, let's move on to the next thing that we have here. We have the thing that Angel talked about, the recklessness of our politicians, yes, and the desperation. And before then, we looked at what Jega said about that and how he actually, without mincing words, say during his tenure being the chairman of INEC, how desperate the politicians are. But then, politicians had always been desperate to win, you understand? Yeah. But then it is for the INEC to actually do what the law asks them to do, you understand me? Yeah. Be somebody that is like an independent umpire, you know? Yeah. So maybe we should take a listen to from what Jega said, so to guide us on how to approach what he said. So let's take a listen to that Channels interview. Credit to Channels.
Know that danger that has emerged in our electoral process.
No, definitely it's an issue of serious concern. The judiciary now seems to be the one who really get people into elected positions. And unfortunately, the image of the judiciary is also being impugned because of the many allegations of favoritism or to politicians or bribery and other things. So I think the judiciary needs to really begin to put its ass together in order to address some of these challenges. No doubt, we cannot deepen and consolidate our democracy if the choice of the people is put aside and replaced by people who get into elective positions through judicial pronouncements. I think this, in fact, is one of the most serious issues that going forward we need to address. Because it started small, but now it's becoming a very, very big issue. From the celebrated cases relating to primary elections to even now, the cases that we are seeing with regards to the way and the manner judgments are given by tribunals. In some cases, even being upheld by courts, appellate courts. So this is a very, very serious issue which we have to address. And some of this probably can be addressed with further amendments to the Electoral Act and the tightening the legal provisions with regards to the role of the judiciary. But you see, we have an excellent example in India, where over a period of time, since the 1950s, the judiciary tried to remain aloof, literally, from electoral litigations. And in fact, they started doing that while, of course, the Indian Electoral Commission was conducting good elections impartially, without partisanship. And so the judiciary started with a situation in which virtually every case that got to the court was decided in favor of the Electoral Commission. So over time, people now stop even taking cases. Once a pronouncement is made, then it is accepted, and you have to just prepare to contest again, rather than waste money and resources in litigation.
And belabor the judicial
exactly,
process,
yes. But in our own context, we have a lot to do in order to ensure that the judiciary is depoliticized, and also we have people of integrity who can act in accordance with the dictates of their conscience and in the true spirit of the law, rather than pandering to either some partisan interests or some monetary inducements.
That is one-on-one with Atahiru Jeka on Channels, where he's very instructive on some of the things he spoke concerning the votes and the verdicts that are coming out from the courts.
Well, anyways, I'm not really surprised hearing this thing from Jega, because we actually know what happened during his own time. So it's just like a kettle calling pot black. But the issue now be say, at this point in time, it's not only our politician has been desperate for power, they've been hungry for power from day one. But it's not up to judiciary, it's not up to the INEC to do the right thing when it comes to their decks, when the ball comes to their own courts. So at the point of INEC, they have to deliver the polling unit and make sure everything goes on well, and not. But we saw what happened during the last gubernatorial elections, where results were manipulated, altered, and modified. So that is not supposed to be in this our present democracy. It is not supposed to be. Now, for the judiciary to, when the ball comes to their court, they have to deliver justice, fairness with equity. They have to judge the whole thing right, and not siding, and not being siding for one party, and not patronizing or being a highest bidder, playing the game of a highest bidder. So that is the way it should be. Okay,
let's take some of this thing from Maxwell. If Maxwell is there, I want to get straight to some of this thing I want you to answer. I want to know, Maxwell, is there jurisdiction in any judicial officer to correct judgment after it has been delivered? Because my belief is that once a judge delivers judgment, it becomes functus officio. Is that not what you guys call it? Can you please tell us, this is as regards to this Kanu, because I keep going back to Kanu and then what is happening in Nasarawa now. before we take up some of the things that Bwala said on an interview with us.
Good evening, Mr. Kanu. Good evening to everybody, wherever you will be listening to me from.
Yeah, Maxwell, can you please put some volume in your voice?
Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. It comes in, goes off. But go ahead. Maybe it's your network.
I don't know how it's muted before. So what I was saying is, it's a pleasure to be here. Now, on the issues regarding the judgment of the court, yes, of course, once a court has delivered judgment, it has closed its office on that case. A judge cannot, or a court cannot go ahead to deliver judgment, then come back to give another judgment again, and then continuously change the judgment. It is a different thing, like I mentioned the last time I was on this platform, that it is a different thing to correct typographical errors than for you to now go ahead to, change a judgment in its entirety. What we are seeing, what we are seeing from Kanu State is a case where the court has changed its judgments in entirety. It has given, after claiming that it has resolved all the issues in favor of the appellant or in favor of one party, it now goes ahead to come back again to say that to another party. It is not the case in law. Any case that judgment has been delivered, the court has been stripped of every jurisdiction to entertain such matter. So what it means is the only court that has the capacity, that has the jurisdiction to entertain such a matter would be the next higher court, and in this case it would be the Supreme Court. So in the real sense of it, the court has lost its jurisdiction. That is, the Court of Appeal has lost its jurisdiction to even hear or rehear the matter anymore. So that is the point of it.
So thank you for that, this thing. Again, let's I want you to listen to what I think Daniel Bwala what he said concerning that we have just witnessed the worst electoral judgment in Nigeria so far since he can remember, and so many other things that he said on that interview that I want you to listen to, so that you give us your own thoughts on them. Let's take a listen. We'll be right back.
1999, there have been evolutionary development, if I have to use that word. But in 2023 elections, we've had the worst of judgments of court. We have not had so much of conflicting decision by one tier of government, because if you look at the election tribunal this year, you would notice that there were inconsistency in one or two tribunal cases at the trial level, and then probably at the Supreme Court 1 or 2 complaints. But at the Court of Appeal is where almost all of these conflicting judgments that have so far been experienced. And for the records, the Court of Appeal is one court. So even if it were judgment delivered in Maiduguri, let's say division of the Court of Appeal, and it can be relied upon in Lagos as the court, the same court, not that you are addressing the lordship, their lordships and saying, my lord, your learned brother in Maiduguri decided this. No, my lord, this court, because the court is one. And so surprisingly, you would think that the court should be abreast of the various judgments it delivered and be consistent in its judgment, especially when the judgments are founded on the principles of the law. Facts can differ, but the principle of law is constant. And wherever you turn, when the principle falls on a direction, the judgment has to be consistent and constant. But we have seen conflicting decisions of the Court of Appeal, especially where it affected the People's Democratic Party. And I'll tell you what, there was the judgment by the Court of Appeal in Plateau State that removed the governor. and the appellate court delved into the merit of a pre-election matter, and they said it also qualified as a pre-election and main election, and they delivered the judgment. The same court of appeal in Ebonyi State, the case of pre-election was canvassed. The court of appeal in Ebonyi said it's a pre-election matter, we do not delve into pre-election. In Benue State, pre-election matter was raised regarding form of INEC. The court in Benue said it is a pre-election matter. In fact, we are guided by the judgment of the Supreme Court. We stay constant in it. In all these places where judgments were delivered, either in sustenance of pre-election matter in tribunal or in the rejection of the pre-election case in tribunal, the beneficiaries have been the People's Democratic Party. Awesome. This is where the concern comes. But you see, Mr. Abati, Section 287 of the Constitution of Nigeria makes it clear the position of stare decisis and judicial precedent, that the judgment of the Supreme Court is binding throughout the Federation of Nigeria on all authorities and courts that are subordinate to it. In this 2023 election, the Supreme Court of Nigeria settled the issue of pre-election matter. In the case brought by APM, in the case brought by APC, in the case brought by Labour, where pre-election matters were canvassed and they were joined together with fundamental provision of the Constitution to suggest to the Supreme Court that this is so germane that you cannot close your eyes from it. And the Supreme Court made strong pronouncement, in fact with anger and vehemence, that anybody who is not a member of a political party, or even if it were a member of a political party, where the case border on pre-election, it cannot be brought that said party is a busybody. I have also heard, Mr. Abati, people said, but in 2019, in Yari's case, the Supreme Court sacked APC. Why is PDP crying? And they failed to realize that in 2019, apart from the fact that it was a decision decided on the old order of both the amendment to the Constitution and the Electoral Act, it was a case brought by a member of All Progressive Congress. It was intra-party matter. In this year, Supreme Court said, you are a busybody to try to question. In fact, they even said, even where the legality of what you are challenging is genuine, it falls short of two things. Number one, time required for the determination of the matter. And number two, the matter is not an election tribunal matter. If you look at Section 34, the grounds for which election victory can be challenged is clear. And you will see there is no disobedience to the court judgment as a ground. There is no even the issue, for example, in Plateau State, Mr. Abati, when they say there was no valid Congress, that they didn't even have a structure in the first place that will warrant for them to sponsor a candidate. What is the structure of a party as recognized by law, by the constitution of the parties, and by the various decisions of even the Supreme Court? The National Working Committee is the life, the soul, and the spirit of a political party. When you sue the National Working Committee. As long as the National Working Committee exists, even if there is no any structure at all in a state, it cannot give rise to the decision of validation by the court that there is no conduct of Congress. In the first place, even the order that they raised and said it was violated, the order was obeyed.
So Maxwell, the question is, as we don't hear from Boala now, this thing where they happen for Nasarawa State, as our women don't begin to go naked for street, they protest because of waiting these same appeal court judgments they happen. So what do you think say it go even happen? Now we be say this kind thing done they from street protest to road protest and all of that. And this dimension, because not only Nasarawa women don't they go naked, we see some for Bayelsa, we see the thing where they happen for Kanu and all of this, and all because of the Court of Appeal judgment. Please, what do you have to say about this very direction that we are going now because of Court of Appeal judgments?
Mr. Kanu, I don't think that we should have to wait until the entire women in Nigeria go naked and hit the streets before we start correcting the rot in our system. It is because of the courts has refused to do its job. That is why we are seeing this protest, because it is normal for the executive to want to flex its muscles. And when they do so, it becomes incumbent on the courts to correct the anomalies, to correct the encroachment of the executive, to
Okay,
that.
be like say we don't miss.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
It's unfortunate that the court has missed this rule and have decided to join the executive in this monumental corruption. Now, what we see now is the people fighting back. The people are tired of these excesses because the court has affirmed corruption as the mainstay in our democracy. They have affirmed fraud. They have affirmed electoral theft, electoral violence as the mainstay in our democracy today. And the people can no longer bear it. The people can no longer cope with it. Because by this, men who are not competent to hold political offices now sit in exalted offices, in the seat of presidency, in the seat of vice presidency, and other top offices in the land. And that is why our economy is going bad by the day. Commerce is not functional. The trade sector, investment sector, and everything is all plummeting. It affects the ordinary man than it would affect the political few. So, except the ordinary man is ready to take up extraordinary steps, take out extraordinary actions to fight back this government, then we may as well be ready to remain in this dungeon where we have been kept by these political rascals. So, what we are seeing is the people simply fighting back against the corrupt system. But like I said, it's unfortunate that we have to wait till it gets to the level of women going naked, dehumanizing themselves by themselves in order to make sure that their words are heard, their statements are made, and that the whole world or the general public are aware. It's actually unfortunate. We need to start leaving the stage of electoral decadence that has engulfed the entire Nigeria. Leave this stage of corruption, leave this stage of fraud in our electoral processes, in our democracy, before we can start getting it right. It's unfortunate that this is what we are seeing today, but I believe that there are several steps that we can take too, as individuals. Except we continue to raise our voice, these things will not be corrected, and it's only normal because they are about to affirm that same corruption that was done at the Supreme Court in relation to the presidential election petition. They're about to do it in the NNPC case in Kanu. They're about to do it. They've done it in other states, Imo State and the likes. So it's unfortunate, and we must lend our voice to this class action against these people.
Okay, thank you. Let's take a listen from people in Nasarawa State to see how they feel about the whole thing and how they are spoken about what they are really doing. Let's take a listen.
Whoa! No wood. Ribado. Gewu kunto below. Maya Ganjo. Mata masoto jina masakilo mabata genzu. Kajito seimu. Muna kuka gareka. Abinda sun yi mana yau suna so su kakkashe mu tabbobi da yara da komi an tura sojoji akan abinda mu munci ana karba mu ba mu taba wuni ba mu zage wuni ba muna kuka gare ku ji kuka mu mu ku temeke mu wahalan da muna ciki yanzu ku temeke mu ba wuni abinda yake ba ku juta sai mu talakon mu yayan marayu wanda ba mu da maza muna shawuya ku temeke mu a cikin sunan Muhammadu manzo Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Professor Patrick Lumumba We know that you may not be aware what is happening in Nasarawa State. The good people of Nasarawa State voted massively for David Emmanuel Dumugadu, who won the election, but it was rigged. Now our people have been protesting peacefully since March. There is no violence and there will never be violence. Surprisingly today a team of military men came and attacked us. They were running over our people, our women, our mothers, and our men with their vehicles. Surprisingly, we have never seen this. We are calling on Professor Lumumba, please intervene in our situation. Intervene and save democracy in Nigeria and Nasarawa State. We will continue to protest. We will continue to protest.
So we just watched what the women from Nasarawa State, how they talked about what happened. We can see armored vehicles, we can see military personnel everywhere, and we saw somebody who said that the army, the Nigerian army, attacked them. We can see that happening on the video, but somebody in this very video said that that the army attacked them. So Maxwell, having watched the video, do you really think that the army should be participating in this kind of a protest that is actually what do they call it? Is it a free protest where no violence happens and all of that? I thought that the army, peaceful protest, I thought that the army is supposed to be fighting Boko Haram and not being on the streets of Nasarawa State.
The army of Nigeria have been relegated to the dustbin. It's unfortunate that we have insecurity that has bedeviled the Federal Republic of Nigeria, insurgency in the northeast, Borno State, Adamawa State, Yobe State, and all of these surrounding states that bandage the northwest. A lot of these states in the northwest, Katsina and many of them, even in the northeast. And these bandits have also taken a step further into moving into the middle belt, into Abuja, Nasarawa, southern Kaduna, and a lot of these places, and even into the south. But the army is more focused on people who are protesting simply. But who is to blame? It is simply the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Bola Tinubu, who has been selected to be president, has given the army more leverage. In fact, the APC, since Muhammadu Buhari came into office, we have seen how much the Nigerian military has continued to bastardize our democracy, has continued to bastardize the fundamental human rights that is enjoyed by every citizen. Mr. Kanu, Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution is to the effect that everybody shall be free to form a peaceful assembly. You are free to go out and march. You are free to go out and protest. You are free to go out and rally without even obtaining a police permit. But it beats my imagination that the streets of Nigeria has been heavily militarized, and that is why we see the military officers everywhere. Recall that during the NSAS protest in October 20th, 2020, we saw how members of the armed forces of the military shot Nigerians and took away their bodies, stole their bodies from the venue at Lekki Tollgate. We still see this happening 3 years after, and it doesn't look like ending soon. We've seen several harassment from several agencies of government, from several officers of armed forces, and nothing is being done, absolutely nothing. And it is quite troubling that women who have decided to come out and air their grievances are still met with this high-handedness by the military. It's actually unfortunate. It is unheard of. It is unheard of. In fact, it is only in Nigeria currently that this kind of mess has happened and nobody is being punished, nobody is being questioned, absolutely nothing is happening. These are the problems. These are the benefits of, not benefits, these are the ills that comes with bad governance. These are the ills that comes with bad leadership. When the person who has been given charge over the military cannot do anything about it, cannot do anything about any of the armed forces. And we continue to see police brutality, police intimidation, police extortion at several angles. So it's unfortunate that this is where we are now. The government needs to do better. The leadership, the chief of army staff needs to do better by calling his boys to order. Venues of protest are in no way venues for military officers to be present, brandishing their guns, oppressing, intimidating, and battering and assaulting Nigerians. They should stay in their barracks, or they go to the northeast and fight against the insurgency or the banditry that is already threatening our very existence. It's unfortunate that this is the reality and nobody is saying anything, nobody is doing anything. We need to speak up against this mess because the military needs to understand that we are civilians and we are acting in accordance with the provisions of the 1999 Constitution. For heaven's sake, Chapter 4 of the same Constitution provides for all the rights that people enjoy. You have the right to move anywhere you want to. You have the right to be part of any association you feel like being a part of. So why should people be harassed by the army? It's quite unfortunate.
Thank you very much, Maxwell, for joining us today. You see, Maxwell is our legal analyst. He has been with us today. And make we come back for studio. Some judgment delivered in electoral disputes are hardly handed over to the losers on time. Some judgment take up to 1 week to be corrected at the trial tribunal. In the Court of Appeal, it takes up to 5 days to get copies of corrected judgment. In all this, litigants and lawyers suffer the consequences of time. Now, Angel, we know that very time that all these things, it is the losers that are actually, that suffer the most of those consequences because of time. In the one of Kanu, just like Maxwell mentioned, it took them days after they have given the oral or verbal judgment. It took them days before they were able to bring out that CTC certified true copy of the judgment. Yet there were errors, or they call it mistake, clerical, and all of that. But we in Nigeria know waiting day. You understand me? We clearly know waiting day. So now, coming to this backdrop of what Jega is coming out to say, I also understand from the side of Esther that Jega, Nadem, you understand. Exactly. But there seem to be serious things that Jega is talking about here. You understand me? It says that one, that Tinubu is sending a wrong signal to Nigerians. You understand me? Yes. By his posture and the way he's treating some of these things that are happening. Sending a wrong signal. And most of the things that are happening, he seems unperturbed by the suffering of the masses in Nigeria.
Mr. Kanu, the issue be say, Tinubu in body language said it all. Because everybody want make Tinubu sack the, Yakubu Mahmoud or even go to prison. But because now that man na input and there, he no go do am anything. Eme fere wetin do am nothing, but him follow am bomber to bomber. Then this one way still select person give us, come stole our mandate, give another person. He no do am anything because na in person be that. Okay. And na in body language, na that body language na in Jega they talk because he's sending bad signal to citizens. He don't care. Whether his citizen die or not, he doesn't care.
Okay, let's hear, make we hear how Jega even put that very something. As in talk say, the judiciary is now seems to be the one who get candidates into elective positions. So let's hear from Jega, then we'll come back because I see say Esther they do muy for that. So let's hear from Jega's interview on Channels One-on-One.
The position of someone like Chidi Kalu, who described in a very strong language the error that the Court of Appeal said it made in the Kanu case, where the last page of the judgment was totally different from the body of the judgment, and those who have already now said, look, this is a clear case of complicity of judges or the courts in manipulating the process, that it needs to, there's need for a thorough investigation into what is going on. Well, how do we get our judiciary far away from the electoral process? Well, is the arbiter when anybody is aggrieved can run to. But then if it gets down that 500,000 people voted and all of those votes amount to nothing, and it's now been determined by 3 or 4, 5 judges in the courtroom, how do we ensure that there is some reasonable sanity?
Yeah, excuse me. No doubt from what you have said and from this latest incidents regarding the case in Kanu, it's very, very regrettable. It's unfortunate. In addition to Chidi Odunkalu, I have heard and read many distinguished lawyers in Nigeria really being disappointed and embarrassed with that kind of situation. You know, you would expect that courts, particularly at the appellate level, but in all cases, would be very meticulous, you know, and very careful about what they certify and issue as the judgments that they have made. But a situation in which what is issued, a written certified judgment, contradicts the pronouncements made in court while reading the judgment really is very, very unfortunate. So I agree, I'm not a lawyer, but from the political consequences that it has created, I definitely agree that there is need for a thorough investigation of that kind of thing. It may well turn out to be a simple error, but that error has now cast doubts and aspersion about the integrity of those who have issued that judgment. And it is in our own interest and in the interest of the integrity of our politics and even of the judiciary that an investigation gets to the bottom of what has happened. Maybe since the matter, I understand, will now be going to the Supreme Court, maybe some of these issues may come out there, you know. But whatever is the case, even if it is an error, there is need to identify who caused that error and for appropriate sanctions to be made.
Professor Tahiru Jega, and so Maxwell, please quickly, what is your reaction? You have like 1 minute, please.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kanu. I was going to comment on the fact that, you know, Section 294 of the 1999 Constitution has provided that where the court has delivered judgments, that the court will furnish parties with the judgment of the court within 7 days from the day of delivery. Now, it's been over 2 weeks, Mr. Kanu, since the Supreme Court delivered judgment in the presidential election case. And the Supreme Court has not provided the judgment on Peter Obi's case after reading that judgment for hours. Recall that this same Supreme Court refused to rule on the issue of the forfeiture of $460,000. They refused to rule on the issues of double nomination of Kashim Shettima and many other things. Until today, the court has not given parties the judgment. So what we are seeing is a takeover, an entire takeover of the justice system in Nigeria by criminals who wear robes, who wear wigs and sit in chairs and actually trade justice on the platter of monies, on the platter of corruption, on the platters of bribery. This is what we are seeing in Nigeria, and it's actually unfortunate that the court will find itself roped in this. If they could read that judgment for hours, what has kept them from providing this judgment, giving it to the Labour Party, to Peter Obi and other parties to this case, so that they can know the judgment of the court? It's actually unfortunate, and it's a shame on the judicial system in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Maxwell. I think that our time don't give us signal. We'll go talk well about that one. Say concern Peter Obi and the Labour Party. It means going on 2 months now, the judgment that was delivered verbatim has not been given. The CTC has not come out. I think the other day I saw the one of PDP, why is Atiku, but the one of Peter Obi has not. And from what Maxwell has brought in now, that they have rules or provision that it should come out within so time. So we know for Nigeria, if anything, we don't already know say something there wrong, you understand? But we want to see, let's even see where they are written, whether they make the mistake, you know? While it is true that the Constitution gives 7 days window to get copies of the judgment after they have been delivered, there is no provision in the Constitution in any of the rules or procedure or laws or substantive law that give judicial officers the jurisdiction to correct judgment so moto after it has been delivered. This practice of correcting these things like the one of Kanu must stop. It can be abused. Sometimes what one had read out in open court may turn out to be different from the copy on the judgment, which is what had just happened. But our time seriously has given us a signal, make we carry our car come out for studio. But for this matter of P2B's judgment that has overstayed for us to read and find out whether they have clerical error or they get leap error, whether they give that judgment or whether now for their mad the thing they chook them. You understand? Yes. Make we for here. Those ones we will come back whether tomorrow to discuss all this one. So Angel, I beg make you talk to our people, make we carry our kaya come out for studio.
Thank you so much, UC Maxwell. We appreciate you. God bless you. Courtroom belongs to the citizens, and it's only the citizens can get it right. My people, we need to get up and put them on their toes. CJN is busy beating around the bush, talking what we don't even understand. Self-appraise, not even admonishing the evil Justice Samani and Inyang Okoro did. He doesn't even see anything bad in it because they did wrong. They didn't even follow the rules of the law. They didn't even follow the Constitution. But he's busy talking of their integrity. No problem. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. Let all the obedience here waiting there happen. Say judiciary, na im be our problem. They are the worst arm of the government. We appreciate you. We love you. But God loves you more. Bye for now.